Hello again, everyone. I hope you're all doing really well. So us long-suffering holders of ContextLogic Stock, aka Wish, finally received a bit of a boost with the stock price rallying by 14.5% during Wednesday's trade, or gaining another 77 cents per share, finishing the session at $6.09. This was on the back of a strong performance on Tuesday. So other than an announcement for the company's next set of results to be delivered on November 10, there has not been really any company news to account for why Wish saw this sudden bounce in stock price. So this video is all about trying to see what might be behind this recent 20% spike in the share price. So just to put Wednesday's gains into perspective, we can see the majority of the upward price action occurred in the first half hour of trade and persisted up until the middle of the session, where the stock did eventually stabilize. This movement upwards was very much a continuation of Tuesday's late trade, where the stock did see a late surge, which means that for 2 consecutive sessions, Wish has outperformed the market. The fact that the stock has been massively overbought in this current window would logically pose a thesis that we may see some corrective price action looming in the short term for ContextLogic. However, I'm not entirely sure about this, and I want to explain to you why. To put this recent rally into further perspective, look at the volume of trade since late on Tuesday. Just keep in mind that my charts are about a day ahead, because I trade from Australia. Anyway, the volume is way up on the average. In fact, ContextLogic was the 3rd most traded stock on Wednesday, trading more than 3 times its average daily volume, with 125 million shares changing hands. And while it occurred at a more modest pace, Wish stock seems to have continued to trend up in the aftermarket, gaining a further 7 cents in the low volume session. So this leaves many traders wondering, why is Wish suddenly having this golden run in lieu of no major business news? Well, I think what we may be seeing is a few minor forces converging that are combining to boost sentiment and expectations around the ContextLogic stock. Generally speaking, I think there are 3 forces which I think are currently driving ContextLogic's share price higher in the absence of any company news. Perhaps chief among them is that retail and online retail has been performing better than was forecast, which could see better results for Wish than were anticipated in their last quarterly results, which were disappointing and were forecasting further disappointment in quarter 3. This improved retail optimism may be what's behind shifting some analyst expectations for the stock, and in turn driving the increased positive sentiment among retail investors for the stock. So let's have a look at some of these factors. So to start with retail sales, and I really think this is the biggest factor driving the return of positive sentiment for ContextLogic. It is the fact that the last Friday retail spending figures that came out for September were much stronger than was anticipated. Retail sales increased by 0.7% month on month, which is extremely good when it was expected that a decline of 0.2% was to come. And surprisingly and pleasingly, online retail grew by 0.6% in this same period. The online retail sector was expected to be one of the large drags on overall retail shopping, as normal shops have increasingly opened up, and it turns out that they haven't been. I think this reflects the fact that there has been an increased behaviour shift, with more people looking to shop online, which I suppose is one of the expected after effects of the pandemic. Building on this news, Amazon is set to release their retail results next week on the 27th of October. Much like ContextLogic, they were expecting a significant slowdown for the 3rd quarter of the year, and as a result, Amazon and ContextLogic saw big sell-offs following their Q2 results and the accompanying Q3 projections. However, these results declines that were forecast may not be as severe as were projected. So as a result, we're seeing a bit of a bounce back in share price. I think Wish may also be able to maintain some momentum in anticipation of the Amazon results release. And now that Amazon's results are only a week away, I think the Wish stock may also be being buoyed in anticipation of these better than expected results. The market thinking, well, if Amazon's going to perform better than expected, probably Wish will as well, but who knows. Moving on to analyst sentiment improving, while in my last update I did talk about an analyst covering the stock that had become quite bearish on ContextLogic, placing a $4 price target on the stock. This week, popular analysis and news website Investor Observer flipped to a bullish outlook for ContextLogic, and from their aggregated data we can now see that the consensus 12-month price target is $8.71, where a few weeks ago it was only $7.70. This $8.71 price represents an improvement of 43% on the current share price on average among analysts covering the stock. This projected improvement is perhaps not too surprising considering how far Wish has fallen since it IPO'd. This consensus, while likely affected by non-updated projections, perhaps reflects the future moderating of the ContextLogic share price after what has been a crazy debut year for the stock. So I think all of this news spills into the sentiment in the retail sector. So investor sentiment is again booming with Wish stock, having received more upvotes on Reddit than any other stock in the last 24 hours, and by a long shot too. Also, it allowed the stock to moving up to be the third most talked about stock behind Tesla and a State Street S&P 500 index fund. On these sort of charts, Wish has always remained quite popular with the meme stock crowd because its name can be worked very easily into a Reddit thread, and it's arguably the most memeable meme stock, and is therefore never too far from many retail investors' minds. Given the increased retail interest, one may think that the Reddit crowd is contributing to the uptick in the rise of Wish for a potential short squeeze, as this is an increasingly popular play by retailers. But I don't think this is the case. Currently, it is estimated that Wish stock has a dark pool short interest of over 50%, but given the nature of dark pool trading, this should not really be impacting the regular market to any great extent. In terms of the overall short interest for Wish, it is high by an academic standard, but it is still only around the 14% mark, and when you consider that ContextLogic has a near $4 billion market cap, it is not really a short squeeze candidate in my opinion. So on reflection of this evidence, unless there is some major announcement that is known in wider circles but is not yet official, Wish stock seems to be benefiting from the stronger than expected retail figures and a slight improvement in analyst outlook for the stock, and is really being buoyed by the re-jumping back in of retail investors. That's all I can really conclude from this. Anyway, what do you guys think is behind the recent rise in Wish stock? Is there something that I've missed? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time everyone, may the markets trade in your favour. Cheers.